Here we go.
Awesome.
And I still can't see you, but that's okay.
Yeah. Can you not see me?
No, have we got your camera on?
Yeah, it says it's on. Hold on, let me just. Settings. I'm choosing that camera. Oh, hold on, is it that stupid thing up here? The light's on.
Have you got, so it slides across that?
But I can never see how it slides across. I don't know if my one has a slide on it. There's nothing that moves up there. My phone's there, the light is on, but the video camera, which is here.
Yeah.
This is a very old laptop as well. It's
Yeah, mine is still not up for, I was like asking, am I on the list? And they're like, no.
Is it February? Are you February?
No, well, they haven't said. No one
Well,
really.
they haven't told me either. The only reason I know mine is February is because Steve told me when I was asking.
Oh, yeah.
Susan Murphy's the one that knows.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to just stop my video and then start it again and see if that makes a difference.
I see your name.
Everything is dead. Everything is dead for me.
Oh, that's okay. We can chat. That's okay. We can still chat.
Yeah, true. I'm just going to try again on my other computer and see whether that works. If not, then we'll just chat.
Yeah. I'm so tired, so I'm like.
Me too. Oh, here we are. It's coming. Very slowly. This one, the video is working. So if you let me in on the other one, oh yeah, I'm already in. I'm going to close. Okay.
Oh, look at that.
Recording in progress.
I need to boot you up. Should I remove you from there?
Yeah, remove me. I have closed that other computer because it was
Remove.
rebound. Remove me as well.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh, it's
I'm great. I've just hopped out of the shower. No makeup.
nice. Me too. What? It's funny why I don't report. It's like, why have I removed you? Do I need to report you? Right. When you said you're going to have a shower, I was like, okay, I will too. I'll like be like fresh instead of sitting here like, oh. That's okay. I had yeah, making good progress. It's just intense. And it's good there's no one home today because the little interruptions are like not good for my line of stream of thought.
Yeah, we had mum's anniversary on Saturday.
Yeah.
So Jenna had come up from Tauranga and even my sister Sharon, who doesn't come to anything, even she came. So we stopped for maybe 2 hours in the middle and just went to a local cafe. And of course, normally speaking, we would have gone down to Tauranga, to Rotorua, to the Urupa. My younger sister was there, and my sister-in-law. They both took photos of the cross during the day because we haven't even got mum's. We haven't even put a headstone on her yet. So an unveiling.
Yeah.
It was usually supposed to be within the first year, but we haven't quite managed that. So we live busy lives, so we'll get there eventually.
Yeah, I was shocked. I think for my grandma, like it was at least a couple of years or something. Like there was quite a bit of talking and around design and people being ready for that step as well, and being everyone coming together to get back to the site. So I find going back to graveyards quite confronting and quite hard. And like I still have vivid memories of like holding Isla over watching when Grandma was buried. And I've been back there once since she died. And she died when Isla was 1. And it's funny, is it? Like I have lots of things that I think about with her, and that I know that she's with me, but there's something uncomfortable that I'm not going back to the graveyard much, whether my cousin goes back there quite a lot. But interesting.
Yeah, we go probably
2
or 3 times a year, even though it's
Nice.
away from here. So we would never go to Rotorua without going. So my dad is there, my brother is there,
Oh,
Mum
yeah.
is on top of Dad. We put him down double deep.
Mm.
My grandparents are there, and an uncle, a cousin, and a lot of wider whānau.
Mm.
We have a bench park seat there, so we just go and we can sit and the kids play around, and there's beautiful view of the lake from the Urupā, and it's just down the hill from where my family quarry was. So we spent half our lives growing up
In the quarry.
in the quarry. Yeah,
In the
we used to.
quarry? Did you play there?
Yeah, absolutely. My uncles used to throw us in the trucks and take us when we were young. In holidays when Mum was working, we would be sent over to Rotorua, and we would become substitute truck drivers.
The best childhood memories, though. Those
Yeah.
ones where they're a little bit like, oh.
So how are you going? Where are you up to?
I've sort of been into all of Domain 6 things, but I'm just trying to kind of add to them all as I go, so and respond, because like some of them are harder than others. So yeah, just trying to figure out where to add and what to reflect on, what can I leave out, what really is pertinent. I find it a little bit repetitive, the last ones, because they're sort of finding it hard to understand the full context of the which one was I? The change, and how that there's the crossover between the minimal
The transformation.
The transformation, that's it. The transformation and that with leadership, like I don't see it quite as two separate things. So it is what it is. That's okay.
So I remember the transformation quite well, because I can remember my liaison RTLB at the time, as a Senko going through the transformation, there was some impact on us. Not huge. I mean, obviously not as big as, say, if we had been one of the host schools, which we weren't. So in that regards, it wasn't a massive change. But when you think of the North Shore, which must have had a number of clusters, maybe up to 6 clusters on the North Shore, and it just became one cluster. So the impact that would have had on, various levels of leadership and on in terms of the host schools, who were each probably getting lease licenses, and then only one host school was needed. The leadership in terms of the principals that were supporting that process, and absolutely, I mean, look, Katherine, doesn't it happen all the time in education? It's happening again right now, that whole feeling of building the plane as you're flying it.
Well, it really is. It made me think, because all the last few things I've been reading and thinking about, it's all been about like leadership and change and we've got so much happening in now for classroom teachers, and like as a classroom teacher, you're kind of like you say, building the plane as you fly it. But even more so in our role, like I feel we are doing that as well, but on another level. Like there's
on a layer out.
Yeah, there's a layer, and like we were having discussions the other day at our cluster hui, right, around how we need to be ahead of the game a bit more. I don't know if we can, but I do feel we need to at least keep up, because it is a rate of change that's quite fast. But I think we can't not be present and not be doing things. I hope we get a visionary leader that keeps us up to date, so that we can keep on the plane with the classroom teachers, because I sort of worry that there is potential for that to maybe not happen.
I
with
think to a
different
large
leadership.
extent, we are just going to end up having to be responsive to what the various needs of our schools are. And I don't think they're even going to necessarily know that yet.
No,
And
they won't.
I certainly think we won't know it because it will only be as, as these changes are embedded within the schools that the gaps will open up. And then it's our turn to step in and go, how can we help support these gaps and their practice on the school sites? I think we've got a bit of an advantage, Katherine, in that our schools that we are supporting already are using structured literacy and the new structured maths. So there's not as big of a shift for them in terms of practice, but in terms of what that means, what leading down the track that means, and how their practice can create sustainability and empowerment for the children they work with. I think that's definitely something we might need to still help schools to support.
And I think forging those relationships with the college setting, because I'm quite Patty and I got sort of tastes of sort of seeing being visible, I guess, from going to that Lifting Literacy Aotearoa conference, and it was good. I think that the college saw us there, and because it opened their eyes, like, oh, they're here, they're listening, right? And it's almost like that space between us, we were coming in a little bit to them, going, okay, you're putting all this out there, like, and I feel like we need to keep building the relationship so we can find a way forward with the college in particular, because I think that's probably our trickiest, it's not really fair saying trickiest school, but it has the most challenging dynamic.
It's our trickiest space, isn't it? It's definitely our space.
I don't want to be too judgy, but like I mean, like it is our trickiest space to do the work that we see currently when our role is there, and I feel like there's our scope, our role could really evolve in the college.
And I think in that regard, definitely change and in terms of our role as leaders in the space. So I know Kim is the liaison there, but we all play a role in leadership in each of the schools that we work in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think you're right. I think, well done you guys for attending that seminar. I hope you had a good poker face, Katherine.
We did. We had to. Like, because I have the parent hat, I have the local teacher hat, I have the RTLB hat.
All your different portai on.
Yeah.
And I think that, being open and there to offer support wherever it's needed. And in a small way, I think through the transition project that I'm doing, I'm building, more robust connection with at least two of the staff there. So I think that can't hurt. I'm certainly not in management's gaze above the level of the two that I'm working with, but anything you can do to support. And I guess it's like making them aware of the different actions and casework we can do in order to support them and the role that they play in our kids' lives.
Yeah, because and every school sees the transitions quite differently too, which is quite interesting. Some of them it's more like a transaction of, and others are not and don't have any transition, so they haven't really had that experience. So I guess as they become more invested in it as well, and then there's also that interesting grey area between, I feel like, us and our lovely liaison at Mahu, who I don't want to overstep either on her.
I agree.
Ground,
we want to be supporting her, don't we?
Yeah, but
rather
I
than
I feel
overstep.
like it's quite protected, I guess, that role there. And I think because maybe she's had to fight so hard for those relationships as well. So we
I
just got
think
to think of how we can support
it's
that.
undoubtedly exhausting for her as
Yeah, I
well.
think so.
And
Yeah.
any support we can provide is really
Yeah.
useful. I've
Mm.
got her coming in to meet with my wee group of rat bags on Thursday.
Oh,
So
fun.
she'll just be able to cast her eye over them and uh, introduce herself so that she knows who they are and they know who she is.
Hmm.
And yeah, so
Nice.
and then I think in another 2 weeks after this, I've got those two from the college that are supporting. They are going to come and
They
meet
can reach
kids as
out
well.
to you.
Coming out to us now. Of course, we have our own on-site visit. The first one, the whole group one, on Friday. Are you going to that?
I'm gonna try, but I've got to be I've got a really busy day on Friday. I've got
And to be honest, it's not really a priority for you because you haven't got a
I
group
don't
that
really
you're
have a big group. There's one
no.
boy, his mum's going.
Yeah.
And the other little boy, his whānau have been a little harder to connect with. So I haven't been able to have that connect with him yet. So I need to, he's met me and I've seen him in the school in his current context. And I almost feel like he needs to experience Mahu so we have something to kind of talk about as well and to have that visit under his belt.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to try and ring his mum again today. So that's interesting. She's got a really good rapport with the school, so I kind of don't want to overstep either. So because I've picked up that one a bit later, I'm sort of a little on the back foot with just you got to establish relationships first, then
Like,
and
and you're more shadowing in that situation
yeah,
than driving the transition. Whereas with the boys that I'm supporting, because there's 8 of them,
mm,
apart from sending communication to the whānau, letting them know, and
yeah,
then I'm organising a celebration at the end where the whānau can come and view the learner profiles that the kids are developing.
nice.
But apart from that, I'm not having the same degree of connection with the whānau because it's a project rather than an individual
Yeah.
case.
I think that's what I've probably found hard is that I can't just get in there and work with the student for the purpose of like getting their voice ready. I still will do that because part of I've got like it'll be interesting to see what you guys have, but I have like a slide plan that I will and a couple of ideas for like a bit of a project so they can do a learner profile. But we're going to digitize it because they're quite both boys, Mashkana are quite tech savvy. And they are in the same class, so that's good. So I'll be able to pull them out to do that. And I know one will be happy to, and one will come along because his mate is. So that will be good. But they're an interesting dynamic. So my new one that's joined one of my existing cases that was in a classroom. Well, I'd closed him, and this is Oscar. And I'd
Yeah,
closed Oscar, but I sort of he's part of a group that was going to leading the group so that I could just help transition. And so now there's only one other student who's new to the school that he's an individual case. So they're both
yeah, yeah.
kind of individual, but it's a little bit blurred. But I think the clarity is that I need deep connections with both families, and they both actually are getting an individual transition now. But at least I can kind of pull them together to do the learner profile stuff, which will be quite good.
I'll share with you the learner profile I've created.
Mhm.
I didn't realise I hadn't. Sorry, I had shared it with Kim, but I hadn't shared it with you.
Because I had
And
a couple as well. So
so yeah, I mean, you just
mm,
absolutely take
mm,
anything you want from it. So we've just started on that last week. They've done their first page, which is their profile about themselves,
yeah,
and then the next on Thursday we're going to work about the school, like putting down a map and looking at the bus routes and all the
No.
different things they need to negotiate that very large site when they're used to coming from such a small site.
I know. Yeah. They yeah, and I think most of the worry and anxiety that's coming from, well, Matakana is my school that has a transition, is there's a lot of behaviours coming from the year 6 cohort. I don't know if that's happening at other schools, but the parent that I'm interacting with is a little worried about them ending on how they're going to be ending their year 6 year. And so she's quite looking forward to him having something else to do to focus on. And
I think it's a great point, Katherine. I think that it
there's
is
a bit of a
very.
I guess I didn't want to like elaborate too much in this, but there's a bit of a tension there with how the year 6s are presenting themselves and responding to
be honest, I would consider that is typical of year 6 behaviour, and that most schools would notice a ramp up from sort of halfway through term 3 and certainly term 4. They've got their big boots on and they're clomping themselves around the school. And I think it's about just utilising that confidence. To be honest, they're about to come out of that space and be the small fish in a big pond, and it's quite nice for them to have that opportunity to be big fish for once. And so just trying to flip that lens a wee bit and still utilise that degree of confidence and kind of cockiness that they have at this stage to utilise it in terms of leadership and responsibility. Things where the school is making much of them as year 6s rather than putting them down all the time. I think those are really, more positive ways to respond to that tendency for them to, be a little bit in their big boots at this time of year. But,
I mean, it's always been.
I think the transition process actually is a really useful way of trying to channel some of that energy and try to focus in on what strengths they have, what passions and skills and interests they have. I think those are really cool things to be looking at. Look, the reality is they're all just acting out of a mix of, cockiness and anxiety.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's and there's a new leadership person that's come back into the fray as well, and so there's a whole lot of existing relationships and I guess there's a bit of learning there with some of the more complex kids that they have there at the moment. So that's been a bit interesting for the whānau that I've been talking with about sort of navigating that. So it's interesting.
Oh, well, I'm sure they'll make their way through. And,
they will.
And I'm looking forward to seeing them. I've said to them all I'll be popping in and out of the college for the first six weeks next. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how they go and supporting them on the start of their journey.
Well, once I've got this assignment done, my plan is I want to sort of set times where, because both these boys, I think I'll have set times where I'll just come in and we'll chip away at their little learner profiles, and then that's kind of like one part of the project, but then also the other part is actually getting to know one student who's actually a full case though as well.
That's
they
right.
almost alongside each other. It's almost like the learner profile is just like one action of his whole process. So that's a little blurred, but I just need to delineate that so that because my workload feels like this. Feels big.
I definitely agree. And we've got a lot of closures to do as well. So
yes, by the 29th.
That's going to be a big thing to get done. And of course, so I'm away for an entire week next week.
Are you? Where are you?
In Taranaki for the Hui Atou.
Oh wow! I hadn't. I should have looked at the calendar.
Well, I mean, it's great and it's awesome. And of course, I'm looking forward to it. I had a great time at Rotorua, but it feels like my energy levels are pretty low at the moment. So
Yeah.
it's hard to generate that
Mm.
level of, woohoo, I'm going to Taranaki and I'm driving, not flying.
Oh, no.
We've got one of the lease cars, and so it's Quinita and I are
Yeah.
going down.
Okay.
We leave
Is,
on Tuesday.
was
I
Mary
don't know.
okay? We didn't see her on Wednesday.
Medi, no, I do not know. And that's another thing. As soon as I finish this, I
Mm.
really want to touch base with her.
I
So
was thinking about her the other
no,
day.
yeah. The short answer is obviously no, but
Oh,
the
yeah.
long answer I don't have.
Oh,
I
okay.
think there's more complications.
Mm. Mm.
So
And
yeah.
did
So
she just
it was supposed to be Medi coming with or me going with Medi, put it that way, down to
that's what I
her.
was thinking.
Yeah, which would have given me a lot more confidence because obviously she has got, a bigger level of expertise in regards to all of that. Whereas for me, it's
Yeah.
very cool and exciting and interesting and part of my journey, but
Mm.
it is a space I still don't feel extra confident in, and so.
Oh, well, you don't project that at all. Like, because you seem so confident with it, and you're such a massive confident. Like, you're like this rock in our team that we can kind of rely on to boost our confidence to give things a go as well.
Well, I guess it just all shows that we're all somewhere in the scheme of
Yeah,
things. So,
in the journey.
in one setting, I can be very confident. To be honest, when I was preparing that presentation for last week, in my mind, I had Medi sitting there. So I was trying to ensure that I had every fact, every kupu in the right place. Because I was, thinking, well, she'll be appraising it. And she's nothing but supportive
I
all the
know.
time. But,
Yeah.
for me, it's like she is my mentor.
Mm.
So I've got to lift my standards to meet hers.
Mm.
So, I really appreciate those kind words, Katherine. And that is part of my journey. I've identified that already for next year that I really want to step up into that space
Mm.
in terms of providing support and
Mm.
tūrangateratanga. But
It's
I
like
still
giving
have.
that like that confidence just to give things a go as well. Like what you projected, the journey you like took us on was like that was a massive piece of work, but also like a massive piece of your heart that I guess you were gifting as well. Like that was your tongue, that was your family's special knowledge, and you were like sharing that with us as well. And I think that wasn't lost on anyone, you know, of
No,
how
and
important it
and
was.
I'm really appreciative of the support. And
Mm.
there were so many um, lovely little yeah, words of thanks
Mm.
afterwards for that, and I do understand that, and it's not something that I necessarily thought about going into it. I
Mm.
was just really thinking about sharing my journey, but then a lot of people were saying, Alexia was saying that's like a history lesson for us.
Mm.
Most of us didn't know anything about, when Tainui Waka left and
Yeah.
when Arawa left,
That was so
and
fascinating about the placement of Tainui. Tainui was away from where I thought Tainui was,
yeah,
like
yeah. No, and
geographically.
that's why I love that story because it's
Yeah,
like an unexpected twist. It's a
yeah,
twist on
it's
the
a twist.
on the whole Tainui story. And I think that, even Tainui's presence in Auckland
Mm.
is something that people are not necessarily aware of. And one thing I didn't say in that presentation, which I also love, is that Tainui did not go around the top of the North Island to get to Kawhia, to get to the other side. They actually carried the waka across that little wee tiny piece of land at Otahuhu that,
Mm.
where the two um, go down the Tamaki River and the
Yeah,
two,
because the two
it's,
estuaries meet, don't
yeah,
they? Mm.
like on the motorway when you look
Mm.
from one side to the other. Yeah, so they portaged the waka across that little skitty strip of land
Wow.
and came out in the Manukau Harbour And then that's how they got down. So they didn't have to go around the top, which I think is, again, another fact that people wouldn't be aware of, wouldn't know.
Yeah. And I think it keeps bringing the team closer and closer together every time someone shares. So I think they kind of I guess we are setting a precedent and expectation for sharing. And then maybe evolving it when the cycle's been through, like, well, what would be the next natural phase of that, of connecting?
Because we're newbies, Katherine. I don't know how long they've been doing this whakawhanaungatanga. Because there are still people like Heidi did hers fairly recently. So, I've been sitting back going, oh, okay, so what's the order of this? Because Heidi did hers reasonably recently, and then Michelle just did hers, and I was like, Michelle's the newest of all. So I've decided perhaps there is no specific order.
Knowing our wonderful leader, I don't think there is a specific order.
No, I agree. That's why I asked him, to be honest, because I was like, I can't quite work this out. When I figured that it was going to be in order of seniority or whatever, and I don't know how long they've been doing it, so I don't know who's already contributed to that space and who is still sitting waiting. You haven't done yours yet, Katherine, have you?
No, I haven't. But that's about being brave and sharing it as well. Like, that's me sort of not putting myself forward yet. So.
Yeah, but you've got huge aspects of your story that you are probably already ready to tell, and some really interesting, even stuff like your wider whānau, like your sister's journey and your lifestyle blog. I mean, you've got a lot of stuff really that you can.
I guess it's about sharing who you are, isn't it? So people can connect with you on lots of different levels and find that thing that fits them, I guess, because we're all like little puzzle pieces trying to find a little match somewhere. That was quite a we're gonna run out of time. There's like 7
minutes. Oh yeah.
That's okay.
But that's a good way to wrap up.
It is. Yeah. And I do thank you for your lovely words. I did share them with Chrissy when she shared her journey around Jaxie's diagnosis and his transition to school and that, and it's an ever evolving one that and as a family, I think we were reflecting about it after. I think it's been the greatest gift to us because it's made us all look inward and look at ourselves, look at the things that were challenging, the things that were hard, the things that our family are really good at, and just is a lot of learning about yourself along the way. So and not setting expectations unrealistically, like you have in life these expectations of what being a parent would be like, or being a wife, or being an adult, and when we get given the gift of a little person that kind of throws that into the mist, and you have to learn to live with the unknown. And I think that was one of the hardest things that she's had to accept, is the unknown, and there's a lot of the unknown to come.
She may still be on that journey, but gosh, she has she would be a fantastic mentor for any other parents out there who are just starting on that journey, because I think she would offer a lot of hope to parents, her understanding of how Jackson is perfect the way that he is.
Yeah, that's just right.
And that they're not trying to change him in any way. Is just beautiful. And I think yes, she has the advantage of being a teacher, but I know many teachers who still wouldn't hold that. I mean, we know some Senkos that still wouldn't hold that understanding and view of what it is to really have that gift of having somebody with takiwatanga in your whānau and being able to appreciate everything that they have to offer. And I think that was really, really evident in and how she was able to recognize that and share that.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful because it made me feel very hopeful. Sometimes I think it's easy to feel like, oh my gosh, that must be so hard for that parent. Oh my gosh. But, she celebrated it so much that it made me feel really hopeful that other parents could do that too. And I did. I saw her as a wonderful mentor for others.
Yeah. And she thinks that's one of her drivers for her next steps as well in finding out more. So it gives, when she goes into Wairau Valley next year. So she can find out
Yes.
potential
So
pathways.
she's just been appointed to a position there, huh?
She has, yeah. So exciting. So she's going to be a specialist teacher at Wairau Valley Special School. Yeah, and there's just little pearls of wisdom. Like she never knew until she rang them that there was a wait list for these schools. People
Yeah.
Have said, oh yeah, they can go to
Yeah.
the school, they can go to the school, but there's a wait list. So there's all these little pearls of knowledge that she's sort of acquired along the way that she would be a great mentor for someone.
I would say this is just from my experience, not knowing your sister, but I have often found that primary schools, it is, our junior parts of our primary schools are very, very well equipped to support the needs of students and whānau who, of neurodiverse students, particularly where you have learning through play. You are very child-centered in those spaces. And I think that it is very easy to accommodate the needs. It becomes more challenging from about year 3, 4 upwards.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you have to really think about how you can ensure that that child is more included in the classroom space. In the junior area, that is quite natural because there's a lot of play and so they can play together. But as they get older, it becomes more challenging. And then you have to toss up, so what is inclusion if inclusion doesn't look like inclusion in a mainstream space? Is it even inclusion? So, but I agree with you about the waiting lists. Those waiting lists are enormous. And it's always been a real part for me. I remember actually having a conversation with Maximiliano about this, that for me, equitable access to whatever space parents want is the true inclusion.
Yeah.
You cannot get into the space that you think will best meet the needs of your child, then how can we call our system an inclusive education system?
And the dialogue that those mums in education sort of really reinforce that they want to keep them close because they don't know that their children's needs are really and authentically going to be met there,
And so I agree. Whatever the choice is, the choice should be with the parents, shouldn't
with the parents,
with the whānau, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If for one reason or another, whether it's school-based or whether it's waiting list-based or whatever it is, funding-based, if those options are not there, then we are narrowing inclusion from my mind.
And that's where our system needs to up its game for sure. Because we don't have an inclusive, equitable system if we don't have actually choice for all of our students and access to the education that they deserve. So
I can see less than a minute sitting at the bar. So I guess we better say our haereras and we'll get to see each other in person tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow. Maybe we'll see how the assignment goes.
Okay. Good luck, study buddy.
You too. Good luck. Bye.
All the best. Bye.
Bye. And it's holding on for those last few seconds.
Last few seconds. All right. See ya.
Bye.